Good night, everyone. I hope all is well with you in this pandemic condition. Uh, Yesterday we had the first DLP of IEEE PES Turkey chapter for 2021, and today we're honored to have our second DLP lecture by Mr. Ali Moshref uh, about from history to now about a good overview of the power system so that here now I'm giving the words to our vice chair, our chapter's vice chair, for the introduction about the brief introduction information about Mr. Ali Moshev, and afterwards we will be glad to listen to him, and we will come back again in the QA session. Yes, Professor Akın, the floor is
Thank you,
yours.
Ozan. Hello, everyone. First, I want to mention about the background of the Professor Moshref. Ali Moshref has over 39 years of experience in consulting, research, and software development. He served power industry in the following positions: researcher at Hydro-Quebec Research Institute, co-founder and director system engineering, and CYME International TND, and where he designed and developed more than 12 computer programs for power system analysis under his system engineering direction, with responsibility for product and business development. Within 3 years of startup, had clients in over 70 countries. And the other positions are manager, power system studies, Power Tech Labs Incorporated, senior director, Transmission West Region, quantum technology. He is currently the principal engineer in power systems and testing departments at BBA Incorporated, Vancouver, Canada. His technical activities include power system planning and operation, development of operating guidelines, and computer applications in power system analysis. He has performed numerous review studies related to NERC compliances, including MODs and PRCs. His recent publication on arc flash hazard assessment for high voltage transmission was selected as the best paper presented at IEEE PES General Meeting August 2020. His affiliations: senior member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, IEEE PES Distinguished Lecturer, Engineers and Geoscientists, British Columbia, Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Saskatchewan, a Canadian mirror committed to IEC 114 for marine energy, guide for evaluating AC interference on linear facilities collocated near transmission lines, IEEE standard P2746, and lastly, seasonal lecturer at University of Victoria. And today's topic will be on the power system engineering, past, present, and future. And Professor, if you are ready, we will leave the stage to you.
Thank you. Merhaba. Hello, everybody. Teşekkür to IEEE Turkey, all my friends around the world that are listening. And it's a pleasure to present a quick summary of what I think has happened in the past 40 years, and also what is power system operation is, in the sense of what are concerned where we are going in power system operation. So if you don't mind, here I have to put a disclaimer here that whatever I present is my own views. It does not represent any organization such as IEEE, my employers, my previous employer. These are my thoughts and beliefs and opinion. And what I have here, also I have the conclusion of my presentation on this slide. So I want to say that all my sisters and brothers, be consistent in life, be persistent, educate and re-educate, believe in yourself, be a good pal, a good team player, and most of all, hope is what keeps us going. So have hope. I have a short video here, and it is because mostly what I want to say is important of information, of data. So this is a short video from a documentary, and later on, if somebody is interested, I'll send, or maybe you already know what this is. So, yeah, the purpose of this was information, and information is important, extremely important. However, how it is being used, who is using it, for what purpose, becomes an important concern. So, what I wanted to say is that what has happened, what is happening to actually different domain, how the technology transform and evolve. Politics and technology, do they interact? Role and responsibility of power engineers, or even electrical engineers. You can, it doesn't have to be power engineers, but since I was talking about power system planning and operation, then I put power engineers. And also important, do universities prepare engineer to meet the challenge of future? And how should we prepare for future? So, like many other sectors of engineering and other sectors, service sector. In this case, we are talking about power industry. So, how is power industry affected? What are the drivers? So you can see technology, how advances in computer, for example, communication, it influenced the power industry. The government also, it does influence the power industry. Politics also, and environment, right? It affects all. These are the drivers, and some of them you may be surprised how it changes the direction of a country with regard to electricity supply. And so we, as an engineer, we have responsibility to pay attention to all of this. You know, it's good to make money, it's good to learn, and also we have to know the consequence of what we are doing. If you approve a project for power extension, expansion, then you have to do our due diligence. That is it the right thing for my country? Is it the right thing for my society? So it is a very complicated thing, and you may get into difficulty, by the way. So it is not easy also. Like I know in my own case, without naming anything. So when you object to something, then you get penalized. Your salary will not increase because people say, hey, this guy always is against what I tell him to do. So you have to be careful and diplomatic in how you handle. So before I get into history of what has happened to power system operation and planning, I want to say, what is it? What is a power system operation? You know, we have people sitting in energy management center, in the control center. They are like drivers. They are driving the electrical system. So from minute to minute, hours to hours, and days to days, right? They do not look to see what happened next year. That is called planning. So people in operation, they want to make sure as soon as you go home and you start your oven to cook, then their electricity will be supplied right away. So the operation means meet the demand of people, meet the demand of supply, and their not only normal condition when everybody is happy, but also if something happens, if a disturbance happens. And you want to do all of this, which is not an easy task, with safe and minimum cost, which is a contradictory aspect. Okay, so sometimes you, you will see safety is compromised for cost, and so those are again applies also to planning, right? And what is also important, we have to maintain a level of reliability, adequate level of reliability. By the way, the word reliability means a lot of things. Reliability means adequacy and security. Adequacy means enough facilities, that I have enough transmission line, enough generation. That's adequacy. And security means if something happen, if I lose east to west interconnection in Turkey, will I survive that? Okay, that is security. And we have to provide a high level of power quality. So how do we set our way of operating the system? So believe it or not, a lot of people who are in the control center work many years in the Turkish control center or Iran or whatever. They have gained a lot of experience. For example, they know if the voltage around Ankara is low, what do they have to do? They don't have to run analysis to say, oh, yeah, do this. They have experienced it, they know what to do. So that is actually used in writing operating guide, okay, operating local order, system orders. And we look at also doing a lot of analysis. And we listen to other utilities, we see how Canada is doing it, how US is doing it, how Europe is doing it. And we use also manufacturer recommendations to see what environment I can expose that transformer and that piece of equipment. So these are all put into together to write policies for operation. And we also have a massive interconnection, which added complexity to this. Sorry that I am not so familiar with Turkish network, but I believe Turkish network is connected to several of neighbor countries. So this is very good. Actually, interconnection is generally a good idea, and you can share resources and also bring its own challenges. So in power system operation, there are two concepts that are mostly should be in the back of our mind when we are concerned with the operation. One is that active power and reactive power are two independent almost from each other, and they are influenced by different control strategy. And active power, we used to call it real power, and reactive power, we used to call it fictitious power. I do not know if this is the term you use in universities in Turkey or any concept like that. Reactive power cannot do useful work. And active power is closely related to frequency control because that is actually law of nature. You know, force equal mass time acceleration, right? Second law of Newton rotation law. It is exactly that, which is that bullet, which means if we have balance of active power, we can satisfy the load and generation of balance, then frequencies stay constant. In March 2015, Turkey's network went through some blackout. And if some of you guys remember, the system frequency went down to, I think, 47 hertz. uh, which is 3 hertz drop. So that's quite a bit. And so this was related to lack of generation and a whole bunch of load shedding following that. So since I have a lot of slides and I need to be able to almost finish everything on time, I am going to skip to some of the slide a little bit, and then, but definitely during QA you can ask me, and because I do not know, again, like in some of the seminar I give, people can interact right away with me and just pose questions. But here I'm not sure how it's going to happen. It looks like at the end you're going to ask question if you have any. So yeah, so without getting too much into this concept, I will skip this slide. And what I want to say also, as soon as we change something in the system, there is nobody sitting there and watching what we are doing in the control center, in energy management center, right? Is things are done automated, right, to certain level. For example, as soon as I flip a switch to turn my light in my house, nobody is going to be there and say, oh yeah, Ali open his oven, is start cooking, so I have to increase generation. It is done automatically, and how it is done is by governor action and load frequency control system. And then when I'm looking 1 hour ahead, there is a supplementary control. At that time, then operator can interact, says, oh, the load in the system is going up. I'm going to bring another generator online. So there are many things which is done automated way for us in electrical system, in power system. So the control of generation and frequency is known commonly as load frequency control, LFC, or automatic generation control. So these are things that happening, if you like the term, in the back of our head, that nobody is paying attention, but it's happening automatically. So so the reason I say that, because okay, so we understand that load can change, system can change, and we have to respond to those changes. And what are the control facility do we have to cope with those changes? So generator, of course, is one of the most important equipment in electrical system, is the most important one. One of the function of a generator is control the voltage and control the frequency of the system. A capacitor, a reactor, a transformer that changes its tap is also a control action available to us. We can make it automated, the tap changer, or it can be operated offline and stuff like that. And I have here some question for you guys. Who decide what the voltage set point should be? Like how the network voltage should be? What is the voltage in power plant A, B, C, D? You know, is it if the generator is 13.8, do I maintain it 13.8, or do I change it to 14 kV? Why do I change it? So that is actually a very interesting topic for research, and it is not a new topic, but so you can see, I want to point out the activities that goes on in a system control center in operation, system operation. And again, here I try to summarize a list of equipment that used to control different quantities, active power, reactive power, stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it's in Turkey, you have any DC line connection between neighboring country or within the system. But there are many DC lines around the world in different countries that helps long distance transport of power, and also used in controlling the power through the DC line, and helps two system work asynchronously. And there are control devices like a switchable shunt, a static war compensator, and stuff like that. So what I want also to say, what happens in the control center right now, probably the guy in the control center, I do not know how many control center you have in Turkey, but let's say a few control center is sitting, looking at his monitor and breaking his iftar if he's fasting, right? And then everything is good, right? So his CO voltages are good, everybody is happy. So he's working in a normal state. And what normal state means that the power is balanced, that I have generation and load, I meet the load demand of the whole country and any contraction that I have between Iran and Turkey or whatever. So I meet all those criteria as well. My voltages are good, my generation is in within limit, and I have enough spinning reserve. So there is other constraint and inequalities that we respect in power system, but the spinning reserve is one of the most important part. What it means that how much available from generation that is not being utilized right now, and we need a reserve, and how much we need reserve is by itself it is a topic of research, if you like, and also is also where do I put my reserve in generator A or B or C, D. So there are other state that power system can go through. Is the other one is alert state, emergency in extremis, which means blackout. What happened in March 2015 in Turkey, and it may be partial blackout, only part of the country experience a lack of power, or it could be country wise, depends. And then after that, that part that got blackout, we have to restore it back. So let's see, how do we get from one state to the other state, and what does operator should do? And sometimes things can happen very quickly, like quickly I go normal to alert without operator or any control action have the chance to act, and then something else happen and then I go to emergency, and something else happen, I go to blackout. So it all depends, and here I'm going through different stages and explain it, but I don't think I have enough time to explain all this. But what I want to say, as we go out of normal state, then things will start behaving either manually by operator or automatically by control system. Okay, so that's what these slides are going to show you. I believe I will leave how it is. This set of slides can be distributed between my friends now. I do not know who will talk to the chairman after my presentation to see if you guys have access to this slide if you're interested. So it goes through different action. You can see that at the point that I go to emergency situation, under emergency situation, unfortunately, I have to do load shedding sometime, right? So I'm not reading a slide because I do not like reading slide. I'm just pointing to some important item in the slides. So when, for example, I see the voltages are low, I don't have reserve anymore, right? All my generators are online. I cannot get help anymore. I call Turkey, I call, let's say, I do not know. You're connected to Bulgaria? I'm not sure if it's a good idea. Let's say I call an operator there and says, hey, can you give me 200 megawatt more than what our contract is? If he can, then fine, right? Otherwise, I have to do load shedding. And because we don't want to shed the load or interrupt customers if it is not necessary. And some of other things is that I have remedial action schemes, either automatically or manually, and or I do control system separation, islanding. And sometimes this concept is good. You remember we are interconnected to other systems, and When we are in emergency situation, sometimes it's better to separate from them. You know, that is actually an action which is a corrective action, because otherwise it can things can go even worse. So anyway, we go through all this state. What I want to emphasize, which is very important, it is if the system has collapsed either totally or partially, then we have to resynchronize, restore the network. That is really a difficult topic, power system restoration. Okay, it is operation people job. Okay, uh, so it is part of power system operation. But believe me, that is a very difficult task, because how which generator you bring online, you energize a line, you pick up the important load, let's say hospitals, others. So you have to reestablish the network. And how you do it, can you execute arbitrary energization, and then, okay, let's say I establish eastern part of Turkey, western part. Now I want to connect two subsystem together, and can I do it? So if you look back at system blackout around the world, you see system restoration was always cause of delay of restoring power to customers. Okay, so now I just want to say something that happened, that I do not know how to say this slide, but I'll try my best. Probably most of you guys are listening are young. I am an older person. Actually, I'm 66 years old. And people who remember Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher in UK, in my opinion, both of them, they did a lot of damage to different industry, especially electrical system, power system. So they introduced something called deregulation. Almost every country in the world adopted some kind of deregulation. Okay. And unfortunately, when we s- leave things to market has no shame in terms of how they operate, because the objective of a market is make profit. They don't care whether I have this or that. And so the point of this slide is that we let the power industry to become deregulated, like airlines and others. And there is lots of scams happen, lots of failures happen. I do not want to go through detail of this, but there was a company called Enron, which one of the most famous company with regard to what happened to deregulation. And this company, like their share was starting at $90 per share when they started. And when they went down, the share was sold at 67 cents. And this disgracefully, this company disintegrated. So anyway, I do not want to get into detail of this, but just to let you guys know that deregulation or anything that you try to fragment electrical system planning and operation is not necessarily a good thing. And proof of that, you will see a lot of different blackout around the world. I try to summarize some of them, the important ones. I may have missed some, by the way. I just added Turkey, by the way, here. So you see Turkey, March 2015. I hope I wrote it down right. So if somebody see an error, please let me know at the end. So in that incident, 21% of generation was lost due to some unavailability of synchronous series compensator, I think, East-West system. And there is other blackout. You see, one of the most famous one, by the way, is 1965 blackout in New York, and things really went bad. So, and the most recent one in North America was 2003, which 50 million people got out of electricity and took days to restore the system. So that is another thing I was talking about, power system restoration. Here is just, I have a map of Turkey. Of course, you guys are all familiar with this system. So I just want to show it to you guys. So Turkey has a quite extensive network and connected to all its neighbor, or most of its neighbor, I think. Again, I'm not an expert on this uh, national grid of Turkey, but uh, so I just, for your own information, people who have not seen it, to show you that. So now I'm going to do a little bit of history. I think I have maybe 10 more minutes or 15 more minutes, so I have to rush it a little bit. There is a lot of pictures and story I have put together for you guys, just to say the evolution of what happened. So electrical system, power system has two major contributor, right? Two major contributor. One is Nikola Tesla, and Westinghouse also, but Nikola Tesla is really the guy who has actually revolutionized the electricity and the AC system. And we have also a counterpart, Thomas Edison. I have a personally totally against that person. He was not a very ethical person. He was a scientist, but personally, I don't believe he was a good person. So anyway, that's doesn't matter what I think, but uh, finally, AC system took over DC system, and that's what we have majority today. So you can see how the generator looked like in the old days, and whether AC or DC. Shows you that here, yeah, we had electric cars before, by the way, uh, and I think this is a slide that I try to put to really search and put the slides that makes it interesting, or I believe it makes it interesting for you guys. So you can see that in 1895 we had electric cars. We had best electric car of 2017 was BMW i3. I'm not that rich to have this own this car, but you guys are close to Germany, so you can drive and go get one. And uh, you can see also the cars, the chargers in the street of Rome. So which is done 120 years later from first time electric car was done. By the way, there is a lot of research in electric car charging stations in electrical systems. Like utilities are getting ready to have hundreds and thousands of chargers around their network. And so there are very interesting research topic and challenges, which I can discuss if people want to know. So there is a concept of vehicle to grid and grid to vehicle, so which is related to charging. So you can see the evolvement of computers. I do not know, again, most of you guys probably are young to remember the left side on the top picture. That is called abacus. And you see that some weird looking things there. But believe me, that was a calculator. And some people I remember in Bazaar in Iran when I was young, they use that in amazingly fast paced, right? You go and shop something, then right away they say, oh yeah, 10 reals, right? And or 12 something, right? So it was amazing to see how people are fast and what kind of really genius put into this system, to Abacus system. Then, of course, you see the evolution of some computers, uh, and so on and so forth. And in 75, you will see, and close to end of 70s, Bill Gates and Paul Allen wrote a basic compiler for Altair and for Microsoft. So this is what happened. Again, actually, if you know, if you read my profile or my personal history, I was the founder of SIM International, uh, which I am sure in Turkey you have that software, some of the software. I have no doubt, because when I was there, I sold to 70 countries that I used to have this computer on very top. It was a compact portable, but believe me, it was not a portable. It breaks my back when I try to carry that on the plane. And in this system, there is only floppy drives, right? Nothing else. We didn't have a hard drive. You know, my cell phone now is hundreds and thousands of times more powerful than what was there at that time. So I put power system analysis software on this computer actually for the first time. And I want to show you one of my courses, which I did in 1979. This is a power system analysis course that I did at McGill University in Montreal. And some of you, again, may be familiar with the software tool called PSSE or PTI, Power Technology. This is the output we used to have. We didn't have a screen. Okay, so, and we are running a fault and looking at swing angle here. So you can see this is from my notes. This is from my notes, and I took a picture because I kept some of these. So how things has changed, right? And the transformation has happened in so many different areas, so many different areas, and so many different type of generation that we never utilize to the level we are doing now. So you're all familiar with now wind, solar. I think in Turkey you have a number of wind and solar. I'm not sure about wave and tidal, OTEC, battery storage, maybe, probably. And in the area of high voltage transmission line, we have gone to extremely high voltages, flexible devices, DC system. On distribution, we have smart meters, distributed generation. We have also microgrid, which I didn't talk here about it. And there are areas, common areas in transmission, distribution, and generation, which is actually changing the direction of power system. And these are advances in protection and control and communication, asset management, information technology, operation technology, energy management system, distributed distribution management system, etc. So some pictures, you don't need it. This is shows you the consumption of energy from 1980 to 2020, and you shows you the population of the world, the growth of. This is from EIA source, and I found it very interesting. Again, I do not have time to talk about every slide, but it shows you what percentage of production is from wind, solar, and other resources as compared to gas and oil and coal. So you can see, for example, how the coal is changing. But after so many years, from 1980 to 2020, the coal level is back to the same level. So there was an increase period and then decrease period because of the environment and all. So you can see this is a picture of an old substation with all electromechanical devices. Here is fully digital substation, and which was like done and commissioned in 2014, which is 6 years ago, 7 years ago. But it's a quite advanced substation. So these are the changes we can see. There is also, you will see that how information and operation technology has changed and bring everything together. So if you look at, this is a little bit crowded slide, but you will see generation section here, and it says local, automatic local control. So we have control that looks locally to certain quantity and respond to it. We have transmission system and distribution system, similar things. We have customers, big customers, industrial customers, and they are all being monitored and sent to a system control center. So the gray box here is the most important one. People who sweat and or direct the electricity in Turkish system, for example, Turkish system. And they have also look at their decision based on system studies they have done the day before. So they have limits and operating condition. They have also, you may have transaction, for example, Iran request Turkey, give me 200 megawatt more. And the guy in the control center has to take that into account. So there is a complicated system that has to be operated properly, and lots of information and decision making. I think I have very little time left. So I try to quickly go, unless I get a signal from anybody from organizer that I do not know exactly how much time I have left. So I will keep continuing. So this shows a control center. So this is where people start sweating in terms of how to run the system and what is, they monitor the system. So here, for example, on the lower part through analysis, it shows like a certain generator are swinging against the other. So this is done through eigenvalue analysis and
Dear
real time.
Professor Moshref, you can keep your time. You can spend how much time you want because it's a very interesting topic. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
But I have to think about my friends as well, to in case they had fasting, but I will. Okay, thank you. Okay, so you can see that it is has been quite complicated now and quite complex. So where is it? You see this screen, for example, this comes from a tool. Maybe some of you have heard about it. I used to work for this company, that's PowerTech, in Vancouver. They sell software called DSA tools for real-time systems. So this is a screen capture of that software, and it shows, for example, northern generation versus eastern generation. This is represent our utility in Canada. So it shows that, yeah, there is a domain that I can operate safely, and that asterisk right in the center, that represent where we are operating now. So if I increase, for example, eastern generation, I get to voltage instability, I lose my reserve, so I get into a difficult part. So what's the point of this? The point of this, operator at any time can look at this and say, oh, shoot, I'm in trouble, or I'm close to trouble. I better do something about it. That's the point. What's the challenge? How to compute this, how to make it intelligent, how to analyze all the possible event. And that is impossible, right? How can I analyze all possible event? So these are the challenges that you will face. We have also gone through something very important, in my opinion, that was not available before in my time, right? When I started engineering. So, and that is called phasor measurement unit. So, phasor measurement unit is a unit that measure, like any other meters, the quantities like voltage, current, power, phase angle, and it can communicate through satellite, through other communication with other measurement device, and create a synchronized reference for all of the measurement around the network so that I can know the relative angle between Ankara and, let's say, another location. So, and then I can use that voltage angle difference as some decision making. Uh, I remember some guy was saying, having a PMU invented, it's like going from X-ray to CT scan. So in the old days, we used to have X-rays for people, patients. Now, at my age, I've gone through several CT scan. Every time I go through CT scan, they discover something new. So, which is good and not good. For me, it's not good to hear that I have another problem, but the technology is so good. So PMUs are doing the same thing. It's giving more information, and you can see this is all PMU location in North America as of 2015. So this is 6 years old. So you can see from over 5,000 kilometer, I have the angle difference between different locations. I can decide on different strategy. How to use it, what to do with it is important. And that's a part of our university responsibility to teach this to our student, new advances like PMU, how to use it, what is the advantage and stuff like that. So the PMU has a lot of application, and one of them is situational awareness and visualization and alarming. So you can look at and say, oh yeah, voltage here is low, so I better open the tie with Iran. Okay, so you make a decision, right? Integration of SCADA, data acquisition system with EMS, that's another application. Critical line status and outages. So you can do also modeling based on PMU measurement. You can do post disturbance analysis based on PMU measurement. You can validate the model of equipment or power system because you have recorded PMU measurement. And one of my favorite topic is on the lower right corner, which is pattern recognition and artificial intelligence tools, example data mining. So a few years ago, I was part of some committee about PMU application in BC Hydro, which is utility in British Columbia, in Vancouver. So I was looking to see how I can use the angle difference to do something. So it for fun. It was not because I'm not a really I teach at the university, but I that's not my full time job. So normally I do research for on my own interest, and then based on that, so what I did, so what you see on the screen is actually because I do not want to reveal detailed information about electrical system in Canada, Vancouver area. So you will not see any particular lines or transformer generation. But what I have shown with color, the angle difference, and the reference here is United States, the connection between Vancouver and United States, which is on the lower part where you have blue color. So that angle is 0. Then angle to our neighbor electrical system, which is another circle I put here, ASO. So that angle is 20 degrees. And angle to our generation center, for example, from way up north is 34 degrees, and so on and so forth. So based on that, I designed a scheme to say if the angle difference between left and right or east and west is more than 24 degrees, then open the tie between the two systems. So this is like a simple application of a PMU using angle information. And you can do a lot of things with that, and you can analyze it, you can use it, data mining and stuff like that. Oh, okay. So here, really seriously, I have to go because I had also some slide on data, right? That's why my first um, movie clip was about data and importance of data. To be short, we have lots of data. Okay, that's what I want to say. Uh, just to say, in the old days, this is our storage facility, which was fantastic. Like in my case, really, it was unbelievable at that time. So it shows you a 5.5 inch, which only a storage for 360 kilobytes. Okay, so on the right you will see a high density floppy, which is used to be 3.5 inch, and I am holding in my hand on the upper right hand side one of the product from 94 diskette in my hand. That's in my hand, right? And on the lower bottom part, I'm showing a high density USB, which is 128 gigabyte. Okay, so you can see what technology has gone through. This shows the power, how much the power of computer has changed, information between devices. And what I want to say, the big data or data analytics is an important part of power system now, or actually many areas. I shouldn't even say power system. Okay, and as I said, you can use that in data mining and correlation and many other things. So I'm really personally interested, and this is, by the way, a revive area of research. It used to be put to sleep for many years. Now in recent years, data mining and correlation has become enormous in terms of usage, in terms of application development, and also relationship to power system. So here I show you an example of how data mining, a decision tree, can be used. So this is a group of people, they go sailing, fishing, and somebody monitor their behavior to see when they go fishing. And so depend on the weather condition, how many friends get together, I call it crew, what size of boat they find, they decide whether to go sailing or not sailing, or fishing, not fishing. And this is like a historically recorded events. And based on that, you can develop this what is called decision tree. And how it is done and all that, let's not talk about that. But I just want to show you that, okay, so if you tell me the weather is sunny and we have only two friends and we have a big boat, do we go sailing or not? So what you can do, you can start from root node and say, ask question. Okay, what is the weather? It says sunny, right? Okay, so sorry, in this case, I'm going to this one, to the second one. What is the weather? It says rainy, right? So I go rainy. What's the crew size? Oh yeah, I have, let's say, 5 friends. So big crew. So I go there, and regardless of both sides, the answer, yes, most probably they will go fishing. Okay, and for the other one, for the number one, is a very simple one, because if I just look at the outlook, what's the weather? If it is sunny, what has happened? Most of the time they have gone fishing. So the answer is right away yes. So I go. Okay, that's a, again, I try to scramble everything together. This is actually a real thing of decision tree application to power system security. And I developed this long time ago. And you can see, based on generator rotor angle, the output of generator bus voltages, flow in certain line. So I keep going, and then end up, oh yeah, this case is going to be unstable. Okay, so these decision trees and information is come from a number of observation, a large number of observation, and then you can base on that. Because also, don't forget, we have a lot of analytical tools that can study it. The problem is we don't have enough time to study all of those. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go to my final Final slides. So I have a basic advice for you guys. A good source of ongoing education. Retrain yourself to stay current. Retrain to learn about new field. Use journals, online publication, conferences, IEEE, chapter meetings, webinar. Okay, great way to network. So you can hire or be hired through your network. Okay, these are some advices from an old guy like me. Make sure you stop and take stock of what is important in life and in your study, in your practice, right? Get data. That's important. Distinguish those important things from unimportant things. You know, don't get too excited if tonight you have rice or not. Is that important or not? You know, I'm just joking, by the way. I throw some jokes around. So this is some advice to you guys. And the world has changed. That's what I want to say. So we went from 50s to 60s to 70s. The areas that we had a lot of fat in our electrical system, the jobs were forever. So if I was let's say system operator for 40 years, I was there. After that, I die. So job was constantly consistent persistence, right? In 80s and 90s, we went through mode of utilization without investing because we look at profits. So then in 2000, jobs are not forever, right? Mobility and insecurity, we have short-term planning horizon rather than long-term, degradation of proper resource planning and mentoring. So these are important things. Outsourcing, IPPs, independent power producer, fast growing technologies, cyber security, environmental, and all that, and some areas of topics of interest. So you all know about it. And my last slide. So how the technology transform and evolve. So if I want to summarize in one word, I said digital. Politics and technology, do they interact? Unfortunately, yes. Role and responsibility of power engineers, educate and re-educate. Does universities prepare engineers to meet the challenges of future? My real answer is no, but some I cannot 100% generalize it. How to be prepared? In my opinion, be flexible. You know, and there is a term we call jack of all trades. So try to adjust yourself. Thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation. And if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Dear Professor Moshev, it was really a great presentation. It was very interesting also for me as a professor, and I think that it should be far more interesting for the students because they have now seen the long way from the past to now for the electric power system operation involvement in this just 1 hour. So that thank you very much. And there are plenty of questions in the chat box. And Ibrahim, as our chapter secretary, will direct the questions to you one by one so that you will be able to answer in a proper time.
Okay. Thank you, Professor, for your nice presentation and informative presentation.
Yeah.
And
I,
let me start.
I wish I was there because I'm a person like it's okay to be on internet, right?
Yes.
But when I see people's face, I
Yeah.
get happy, you know, because these we are humans, right? We cannot be like a machine. It's not
Yeah.
meant to be. But still, I'm appreciate. At least we have this. We can see each other, right? So, and for those of my friends, I cannot see their faces. I'm sorry for that. I wish you all the best. Sorry, go ahead and ask me a question.
Next time, give us your promise to be here.
I swear to God, okay, on my own, without asking a dollar from IEEE or anybody. Okay,
Thank you very much. It's our
I am
pleasure.
planning. I am planning to travel as soon as this COVID situation is settled and come and visit you guys. You know,
Thank you very
and
much.
talk
Thank
to
you.
the student and all that. Yeah.
It will be our pleasure and it will be our honor.
Thank you.
to be able to ask you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Very
Ibrahim, you can
okay.
go.
Okay, I can start with the first question, and this is a fluid question actually. Let me write the story. As you mentioned, the main target of planning is obtaining a cost minimum system within accept constraints in terms of voltage, backup route, fault, etc.
Mm.
And for future power system integration, smart grid structures take an extremely important place. However, the development of different sorts of renewable sources bring new challenges,
Mm.
and especially within the hydrogen-based ones, how can technical and economical aspects be provided with respect to reliability?
Oh, this is this is not an easy question for me to
Yeah,
answer it, because I can say anything I want, right, as an answer.
It's your floor. You can say whatever you want.
No, anything in life. For example, like say, people are talking about different resources, renewable, and this is not new. It's like in recent years has exactly picked up quite a bit of pace, right? However, to be able to answer that question, one has to understand what the technology means. Okay, what kind of new challenges bring to the system operation? And in terms of, because you see, just to give you an example, okay, uh, the utilities here are forced sometimes by government to buy at outrageous prices the wind energy produced by a private company. Okay, does that make sense? So
mhm,
Yes.
the utility is forced by the government to buy very expensive power from an independent producer, which is bought a wind farm. Okay, that guy
mhm,
is just making money. He doesn't care whether the system is secure or not. He just say, "I'm selling you at $120 per megawatt. Okay, take it." The utility can produce 10 times cheaper. Okay, but he has to buy it. Now, okay, you can say, no problem. It's not my fault, right? But it is, because if you look at what happened in Texas, right? So now I deal with a system which has less inertia. I have, as an operator, I have to operate that securely. So I cannot manage it. Forget about the money. You know what I mean? I have to all the time watch it. So you know what we are doing now? We are paying them and say, please stay offline. We are paying for it, and say, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. Okay, I know if somebody listen to what I'm saying, they may not be happy, but this is what happening around the world. So that's why I do not know how to answer that question. As an engineer, I have to understand what the technology is, what does new challenges it brings to me.
But I
And
think we got the answer. We got the proper answer.
yeah,
yeah. I think the continue of this question, there would be some consequences in terms of the supplied load with a lagging power factor or leading one.
yeah.
What should the main solution be for future power systems based on synchronization?
Okay, the question of lagging and leading. First, I have to, because for me, has always had, uh, because we have to make sure that I understand which one you call lagging, which one you call leading, right? Because you can look at it different way. Like lagging, I can say it's leading, and you say no, it's lagging. Okay. So let me make sure that I understand. Let's say voltage is lagging, the current is lagging the voltage. So if that is the case, what would I call it? System is not fully compensated. Reactive power
Yes.
demand is more, okay, from the load.
Mhm.
Normally, we do not operate the system in leading, okay? It is not a good idea, even though you may have a good voltage profile, but from voltage stability, those who have worked in voltage stability, is it's if something happens, you can go into a voltage instability situation without being prepared for it, without having advance notice about it. So and normally this doesn't happen, by the way. So in like a system being overcompensated, normally we don't have that. Okay, but of course it has completely different challenge in system operation. Again, it's a difficult question. Again, these are all difficult questions. I'm sure you guys are very smart. Ask me difficult questions.
Okay, the next one. Can you please explain the smart grid integrations in Iran?
In Iran, okay, I haven't been in the country, Iran, since 1972.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay, yeah. So most of you guys are even born after that. So
yeah.
um, I do not know. The honest answer, I do not know. However, again, I honestly I hate the word smart grid. I don't like it. The grid was not as stupid, okay, before. What does a smart grid means? Seriously, what does it mean? It means we have a better vision now of the system. Okay, that's
We're
all it
trying to
means.
benefit from the ICT evolvement more and more every day. That's how what they call it smart.
Yeah, but how I use it? Do I use that that added feature I have brought to the system, to the smart grid? For example, like we talk about even in Canada, we don't need to go to US, right? But if you look at it, you cannot say like you cannot say in one paragraph this is a smart grid. You know what I mean? There is no. I do not know what's a smart grid. You just tell me. For example, they say vehicle to grid. Okay, so that can be a smart grid, right? Part of a smart grid. Like mean every charging station, they can send information. Say, hey, I have two cars here already. They're going to be here for the next half hour, and then I can decide where to go and charge, right, to another location. I can also say, oh, something happened to the grid, so let's stop charging and discharge everything to the network. Okay, so
This is what
anyway,
Ibrahim. This is what Ibrahim did in his PhD
yes.
thesis.
I,
exactly.
which Ibrahim?
Ibrahim,
Me.
our secretary, Ibrahim.
Okay.
yes.
I thought you were talking about my friend Ibrahim Wahidi. That
Actually, when I say Ibrahim, okay, our board is.
but
Some,
Ibrahim is also my friend, by the way.
thank you very much, and
Thank
let's
you.
go for the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about the incorporation of mobile generator energy storage systems into the emergency restoration strategies of power system? Do
Oh
they
wow.
present promising or cost-effective solution?
Think about Texas. If there was some mobile generators or storage systems in Texas, would we have any benefit?
Yeah, of course it would, but is it worthwhile to keep those things around? That's another thing. Yeah. So definitely, like I work in system restoration quite a bit. Okay. I developed an entire country restoration plan for Saudi Arabia on a project with Siemens. So you see,
And that's a great experience, actually.
yeah. So the answer, yes, of course, it's good. Anything, but the thing is that you look at it. Okay, look at this way. If I want to pick a 400 kV line with a small generator, I won't be able to do it. Okay, so I have to find a path that I can energize and reach to a source, to a big source, and then I can pick up the system. Am I making sense?
Mhm.
I think that makes sense.
Like you cannot pick. The reactive power you need from that generator to hold a 400 kV line is a
It,
lot.
it's
Okay.
not like, okay, you put it there and it will restore everything.
No, but it can be in a strategic location. And
Yes.
actually, that is what we are doing in microgrid. Right now, I'm working on a project in Chicago, okay, which they are looking at university generation for system restoration. Actually, I have some slide. If you want, I can show you. that they use, because they have generation inside the, like in San Diego, for example. I do not know if you know that. They have a parking lot with 1 megawatt PV. They have a 15 megawatt, what I forgot what, it's a like a combined cycle type of generation,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we are thinking of using those in microgrid. We call those microgrid within the grid, right? So and university campuses, which has large campuses or other industrials, can be a good location for those, right?
Mhm.
So I study.
In a smaller part of the power system, not
Yes,
in the bigger
yeah,
part, but in a smaller
but
part.
it can be helpful. That's why
For a
that.
decentralized, maybe for a decentralized restoration, it can be helpful, huh?
Mm. Yeah, definitely. But again, I cannot give answer yes no. That's the problem, because your question is so good. I cannot give you an answer yes no.
Let's say it depends.
Yeah, that's why I said, the- you know, that's why I want to teach the student, especially that are listening. Please think deeply. Just don't think moment. Like when you go home, think about what your prof said. Okay, or when you pay attention what he's saying, because every word the professor says, I hope he has an intention of some intention. Try to grab those. And this is true even in life. When your wife talks, don't get annoyed. Oh, yeah, yeah, you keep talking. Listen to her, right? Maybe she has a point. Maybe you're doing something which makes her annoyed. You know what I mean? So in life, always pay attention to things. It don't take it like it's at the surface. Yeah.
This is life coaching.
In my, you know what, in my opinion, everything is related to life. Like for example, Thevenin theorem. Do you know it's directly related to people and humanity?
No, we didn't.
Where is,
Actually, I did not consider it in this way.
yeah, like a short circuit level in the system? What does it represent? It's come from Thevenin theorem also, right?
Mhm.
When you teach short circuit, you have to introduce Thevenin theorem. What
Yes,
Thevenin
sure.
says, right? So he says, give me the whole thing. I look at one point. What is he trying to do? Unified thing, bring everybody to one. And that is tell you the strength of the system. Actually, yeah,
That's great.
and what it shows you, the connection to ground, to soil. The more connection to soil you have, the stronger you are. That means if you can stand strong with your friend, you become a very high short circuit level. Nobody can shake you. Nobody can shake you now.
I will listen to this video again from the YouTube so that I will try to get some notes from this. That's great. Thank you very much. It was a very nice explanation.
No.
Thank you.
But
Let
what
me
I need,
continue. Let
huh?
me continue with the next one.
Okay, sure.
What are the most important measures taken for the situations of experiencing a blackout in today's power systems?
We are trying to restore the grid. Everyone.
Because
What is the experience role in restoring the grid? You mean? Is that what you're asking? Sorry.
No. I'm just all the friends, all these questions are coming from this point, from restoration of the grid. I think people are very much interested in this.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, experience is comes from knowledge also, right? Is like you have seen something, you make a decision. That's what it is. And sometimes the experience is not by you do it. For example, sorry, I have to use some uh, technical term. Like for example, you solve the transient stability, you solve power flow, short circuit, then you gain experience. You know why? By analytical thing, and sometimes you see it, right? So these are two different things. You know, the experience that you see things without knowing it, how you got there. Do I make sense?
I think Hilal is trying to ask something like, what can be done if there is a blackout in the power systems? What can be the first steps of this restoration?
Oh,
Like,
the first step is to identify what we call it cranking power. That
hmm,
means a resource does not need outside power to start. So you identify around the Turkish system where are your black start resources. Then you decide where you want to go from that resource. So logically, what you want to go to another strong generation. So you have to be able to establish that transmission line from that resource to that generation. And on the way, as an operator, my responsibility is to restore hospitals first. If they don't have, because even if they have emergency power, they are running on their diesel, right?
sure.
So I have to restore. So it's a and politics, by the way, when I doing Saudi Arabia, I hope nobody is listening from government there. They told me that the palace and the farm of the king should be stored first. The farm of the king should be stored first.
That's a very good priority, actually.
That's why I say politics and engineering interact.
But I like
I,
it. Really. I like this priority.
I remember, one thing in Iran several years ago. I heard this story. I wasn't there. There, like some minister of energy decided to supply power to some village, right? All the planners and operation people say, "Hey, this is not good because why are we doing that? It costs a lot of money and saving 50 people, right, in that village. Just buy them something, this, instead of building the line." It turned out one of his relative was really living there. So he wanted a line to be put there, get the power to 50 people. I will move them to the city and buy them apartment. It's cheaper.
Politics plays.
Yeah, unfortunately. And if you're an engineer and opposed to that, you may be fired, right?
This is also unfortunately.
Anyway, I don't want to get into politics,
Yes,
but
sure, sure, sure. I
but
understand.
but but I say is a good society is a society that is fair,
Sure,
and it's not easy to be fair.
Yes.
sure. Let's go, Ibrahim.
Okay, the next one. What can be done to solve AC power flow problems to meet the requirements in real-time applications under
Oh,
high uncertainty and extreme events in future power systems?
whoa. That's what I can. Okay, what we are doing now. Okay, we are trying to analyze things real time. Okay, that we did not have the power to do before. So in the control center, we are trying to get as much information as possible, analyze as many events a priori as possible. I give you an example. Some people may know this. PJM is an operating system in United States.
Mhm.
Every 20 minutes, they solve 3,000 contingencies, real time. Re- I shouldn't say real time, online. Okay. And with almost real time speed, they can solve it. Can they solve 10,000? Not yet. Right. So we are moving in toward that direction. And what we need to make is when we design something, there is a limit to everything. I cannot invest. Like, for example, I also teach reliability course in power system. It's hated by a lot of people, that topic. I do not know if in Turkey you teach reliability in undergrad, right?
Yes,
Uh,
we teach,
yeah, okay.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, how much
especially
money?
especially in electrical engineering departments, not in electrical and electronics engineering, but in exact electrical engineering departments we teach.
Yeah, so because you guys are advanced, honestly, you're ahead of
Thank you very
many
much.
countries. Yeah.
Thank you
So,
very much.
yeah, I do not know how to answer this question. It's a very tough question. It's not an easy answer. Yeah, except that we are moving with with advances of communication monitoring and digital information, data mining, AI. We are trying to manage it. Okay,
I
but
think also it depends on the computer power.
yeah, of course. Like that 3,000 contingencies that
Yes.
they solve transient stability is a 20 core computer, right? It's distributed computing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even we will need more computing power in the near future
Uh,
if we
uh,
go
uh,
deeper.
yeah, but also we need to see more analytics, smart analytics.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, because
I think
computer power definitely is good. Yeah,
a softer question, a more soft question comes now.
yeah.
Yes. What are your suggestions for electrical engineering students, researchers about the burden areas in power system operation?
About what? Sorry, the last part you break up. Can
About
you?
upcoming study areas in power system operation.
Oh, in hmm.
Upcoming study.
What do they
For
have to try to learn? As-
okay. Mm. My opinion again is again related to data analytics, assuming they have learned the fundamental of power system, right?
oh, that's what they have to do first. Sure.
Yeah, assume that they already have spent a lot of time. Then, for example, one of the things I do not know how popular it is in Turkey, like Python scripting. How
We use a
familiar?
lot. We use a lot.
Good. That's very
Yes.
good. That's very good. And how to automate things, how to get information from data. You know, so this is the area that is really, because right now in the operating room, I do not know if any of you have been to a control center, right?
I
Uh,
have been.
yeah. So in the control center, the guy most of the time is just sitting watching, right, and hoping nothing happens because
Like a pilot in autopilot mode.
yeah. So for those people is to be able to comprehend when they see things, when they look at some reports on their screen, how do they interpret it, how deep they understand it, and how they can add value to, for example, right now, for example, I try to write a program to do a frequency scan real time, because in control center data acquisition give you a model, you do a state estimation, right? Again, sorry, I do not know how many of you are familiar, right? But since I have a model for contingency analysis, why don't I do a frequency scan and find the condition that I have a resonance? And why I am saying that, because we saw a condition that system in Quebec went unstable because of second harmonic. As soon as they brought one more machine online, the static work compensator was injecting a second harmonic, which was magnified. So there is a lot of information we can get from what we have, how to get information, and which one. Of course, if you are interested, I can suggest some topic of research for PhD or master, but that's a separate from now.
Oh, okay. That were
Okay.
fine. Yes, next one.
Next one. What do you think about importance of demand side management systems for the
We
future
are
power
we are
systems?
making you tired,
No,
Professor
no, no,
Moshref, but really
no,
they're
no.
good questions.
I enjoy talking to everybody. Again, I'm very sorry I cannot see your faces, because I see you, at least I
You
can.
will, you will. Next time you will.
Yeah. Sorry, the question was
Demand
on
side
About the,
flexibility.
Demand side.
What's
Uh-huh.
the role of demand side flexibility in power
oh,
system operation?
okay, very important, very very important. However, it should not be misused. For example, you have heard about time of use, right? Time
Mhm.
of use. By the
Yes.
way, is smart meters uh, implemented in the network, in the customer level in Turkey?
It's
Partial.
it's just pilots in pilot phase.
Yeah. So right now we have 1.7 million in this province, and
Not, not not for us.
they all have a smart meter. Okay. So smart meters are a great source of information for demand side management.
For Turkey, I can say some 10,000s.
Yeah. But anyway, but you know, again, as I said, I am a socialist guy, and sometimes I am against some of the things. You know what they are trying to do now in some province in Canada? They
What?
say, okay, the power is cheaper if you use it at night, late at night. Okay, late at night. What do you think? Who will take advantage of that? Only poor people, right? So the poor guy at 12 at night, when he wants to sleep, he has to put his washer on because he wants to save electricity. So is that a fair thing?
No, just to save some dollars, nothing more.
And at the inconvenience of poor people. Anyway,
Yes,
I don't want to elaborate on it. Yeah.
but that's a good point actually. I like this point. I tell you.
Okay, next one. What do you think about the energy management of integration of distribution system to transmission system and possible challenges?
Dear Professor Moshref, there's a hot topic in the recent literature like TSO DSO integration. What do you think on it, really? I was also willing to ask on it.
I honestly I don't want to answer this question of this type, because the answer is yes, no, it's good. I I do not know. It's like you're asking me, is it good to be a good person? You know, I said
No, it's
yes,
not.
of course it's good, right? Is it good to implement this new technology? Of course it's good, but this is a general answer. I do not. You're not asking me a specific question. This is not a specific. You know what I mean? So I can say yes, it's a good idea, but what are we talking about? Specific of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry to
No, no,
answer
no,
like
no,
that, but
no, no, no.
because you know what?
I like your direct way.
No, yeah, because you know it's very common in North America to BS. You know what is BS stands for? Bullshit. Okay, it's very common. Okay, so they can go on and give you explanation. I try not to do those things, because if I don't have a good answer, I do not try to make a story.
You're
Uh,
trying to prevent the waste of time.
yeah, instead of giving you something at the end, you listen to me for 5 minutes and you think what Ali says, nothing. You remember nothing. You see, if you can remember something after one day from my presentation, I will be very happy. If you
I,
just remember blah 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 blah, then I'll be
it won't
very
make
sad.
sense.
Yeah.
Thank you. And let's
Thank
go.
you. I think the users may be hesitant to provide personal information in big data applications. How can users' privacy concerns be resolved in big data applications?
Say that again. What was that question?
How can users' privacy concerns be resolved in big data applications?
In big data application.
Yes.
Ibrahim,
How can
you can
no
start
no
the question from the beginning.
Okay,
no but
users may be hesitant to provide personal information in big data application.
Yes.
Implement
yeah.
site management.
And how can users' privacy concerns be resolved in big data applications?
Oh, that's a very, very tough question. Very interesting one, actually. I do not know. To be honest, I do not know. Because you see, the parties involved and their interests are contradictory. You know, if people were honest, there is no problem. But look at this. You know all about Brexit, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you
Mhm.
know how it
Mhm.
happened and how it was publicized? How Trump got elected? You know,
Yes.
they use the information of people interest to find people who like to be nationalistic. Okay, and they targeted those people, excite them about voting for Trump, right? So is this a good thing or bad thing, right? So that
Mhm.
person has got manipulated without knowing it. Like, if you like, I put it in a very straightforward. They use a stupidity of people to excite them about something. Yeah. Do you don't believe me? Okay, there is a couple of documentary. Go and watch it, and you will see the Cambridge Analytica. I do not know how many of you the clip I just show you. There is another one in the storm, Q in the storm. It's a 6 hour documentary. I do not know how widely in Turkey you can get those documentary, but this is amazingly amazing. And again, to answer that question, I do not know how to solve that problem. I do not know. Honestly, I do not know. The only thing is that make sure nobody is using that information for profit. Then it's okay. Or for persecution of political persecution. Then I'm ready to share it.
All the information that you have.
Yeah. But if you're using for any political reason, any profit base, then
Please.
because you know why I say? Because he said, oh, what's up wrong with the guy makes $2? There is no limit to greed of human being. If he makes $2 now, tomorrow he wants to make 10. The day after he wants to
Sure,
make
sure, sure,
1,000.
sure, sure.
You know, in the capitalist system, there is no law to say your profit is limited to this. The law is maximize profit all the time. Maximize profit. So how can it be good for everybody? No, it is only good for the guy who's making the money. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good for me or you. So
True.
it's a very tough question to answer.
And I think this is the last question of today. Yes.
Yes, the last one. Which learning algorithms are better for prediction of energy production and consumption? And are they good enough to be practically applicable?
Okay. Because there is two area they're talking about: prediction of production and consumption.
Consumption.
Yeah, consumption. We are using a lot of like forecasting methodology. Okay, and also production. For example, production of wind. You have to forecast wind, right? And solar,
Mhm.
right? Tidal. Like some is easier than the other, so the methodology are going to be different. The algorithm is going to be different. You know, for example, like tidal is it's a very consistent
Specific.
pattern. Yeah, very consistent pattern. Wind is more unpredictable than solar. You know, so I cannot say which one is better right now, but from let's say from data mining and nearest neighbor, clustering technology, neural network, you know, all variation of neural network. So there is no one particular answer I can give you, but definitely they are very important, and they are being used practically. You see, in the old days, we used to talk about like imagining a problem. In university is very common and say, oh, okay, let's use a neural network and solve this problem. But the end, there is no application. But right now, we have a lot of application for these technologies. Yeah,
And I think it's very interesting for you to see what you have already had in your dreams.
yeah.
So there's
Yes.
a final thanks, I think, at the end. Not a question, but final thanks. That's referring to some part of your presentation. Let's go to the final comment.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear Professor, dear Moshref, for your nice presentation. I hope we have a chance to listen your interesting evaluations of power system from the life-centered perspective, such as Thevenin theorem.
Thank you very much, and tashakkur to all my friends. Okay,
Thank you.
and the best wishes. And please, anytime, I did not put my email, but it's very easy: ali.moshref@pba.ca. Okay, if you send me email, I'll try to answer it. If I can help you with anything, I will try. Okay, I'm not asking you to send me, okay, do you have a job for me? I will try also. I will try, honestly, I will try that. Okay, but don't hesitate, because that's what friendship is about.
Professor
Thank you
Moshref,
so much.
it was a really nice night with you. Really, it's over 1.5 hours, but we're still very interested. But at some point, maybe we can make the second one of this, but from a more human-centric point of view, not from an engineering point of view, from a different point of view.
By the way, I have a presentation of where the mathematics came from. But I'm not suggest. I have also a very technical presentation, like for instance, power quality. Okay, it's just one aspect, right? Or some grounding or whatever, right? You suggested, I do it for you guys.
Professor Moshev, I think we have a long way to go together.
Yeah, but I'm saying it doesn't have to be under DLP, right?
No,
Okay,
no,
okay.
no.
Because
It does.
yeah,
It doesn't need to wait. At the next time,
and the good thing is that I don't expect any return. Just friendship is good enough.
I know, we understood it very well. Then this is why we are very glad to have you here, and many
Thank you,
people are now asking, telling us, and writing us with their pleasure.
thank you,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Just stay online now. We're closing the live session. Afterwards, we will meet together at the backstage.
Okay,
Just keep online.
okay, okay.
Thank you very much to everyone for sharing this night with us and dear Professor Moshref. It was a very nice presentation, and there was a very good audience that even reached to 120 people at some peaks. And even at that Ramadan time, it was our pleasure to see these numbers. I hope that we will have plenty of more DLPs and plenty of more lectures together to give you some more insights about what happens in power system operation. Thank you very much, and
Thank you,
hope to see you soon
thank you,
again in a healthy
Thank you.
way.
thank you.
Thank
Good
you very
night,
much.
everyone.
Thank
Good night, everyone.
you. Good night, everyone.
Right.
Thank you.